the lore and the history and everything at the same time, and my mind was spinning. Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. If you follow me on Goodreads, you already know that I didn't, unfortunately, I say this with a lot of sadness because The Infernal Devices is one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. I loved that series so much. It ripped my heart to pieces and I love it to death. This unfortunately didn't do it for me. If you ask me what the plot of the book is, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Because we had 600 something pages. 604. 604 pages of world building, characters. And when I say world building, it was a lot. A lot of world building and people's names and people's titles. I mean, she hits you from the beginning of the book. They were sitting on a table and it was like ambassadors and kings and queens and blah blah blah, and that the land of, I don't know, spices, and the land of, I don't know, and it was a lot. And then they kept coming and like, we follow, of course, we follow our main characters, but like the lore and the history and everything at the same time, and my mind was spinning. I was like, okay. When are we going to get some rest? Give me a little bit of like, what is happening here in Castellane? And I just refuse. I just refuse to make this my homework. I refuse to get a pen and paper and start taking notes of everyone's kingdom and name and their relationship with Castellane. I was like, we will figure it out later. We usually do. And one more thing, yes, I want to mention, for the people that say this resembles the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab, no, absolutely not. Except for the sword catcher here, his name is Kel, and we have Kel in our beloved series. So, except for that, I mean, and here Kel is short for Kellyan. No, nothing at all. Magic system, everything, world building, everything, nothing. Plot. No way. I know the plot of those books. I don't know this plot. Because we got a lot of, as I said, a lot of information and less, it was so slow. It was so slow. It really pains me to say it. It really hurts me to say it because Cassandra Clare, she's a very good writer, and I know she's huge. I mean, but oh my God, I hate to say it, but I was bored. And to be honest with you, I thought about DNFing it at like 60% or 70%. But then I thought about the too many copies I own of this book. I have too many copies to DNF this book. So I was like, I'm going to give it a chance until the last word, until the last page. I want to love it. I want to love it. So yeah, I kept reading and I thought maybe something will happen that will pique my interest and I will say, here we go. This story has begun and here we go. Yeah, something happened. You know when? In the last 20 pages. Exactly. Maybe here. Something happened here. I mean, we have a sword catcher. He's the bodyguard of the prince. He's his doppelganger. And like when you read like that, ooh, you're like, yes, we are going to get some fighting scenes. He's going to be a badass. And we get to see the battles and the schemings and like... We go through the whole thing and we see him in action, I think one time. Maybe when something happens, I don't wanna spoil it for you, but like something happens and like it's a tiny one instance, maybe two, and yeah, I mean very tiny things happen in those instances. So, but Lynn's character saved the book for me. I loved her. I mean, saved it. Small save. I loved her. I loved her character. I loved her story. She's an Ashkar. They have a history, the history of their people. They are like castaway people that had magic before. They had a queen. They were thriving, and then something happened, and they got cast away. And they are like, they live in Castellane, but they live like very secluded. They live in here. I'm going to show you the map. This is Castellane, and they live here in the salt. And as you can see, there is like a wall surrounding them, and they have their own rules about, like, they have curfew and they cannot go outside, and they are not respected. They cannot go outside whenever they want. And they are not respected. They are despised. And you can say, like, people also are a bit afraid of them because they have not bits of magic left in them. They can do, like, she's a physician and she tries to help people with the bits that she has, to help them cure their diseases, to help them speed up their healing. And even though she's trying to help people, people still look at them with hate and, I don't know, some like, and suspicion, you can say. And of course, something happens to Kel, and Lynn gets invited to the castle, and she gets entangled in Kel and Connor's life. Connor is the prince. And as I said, I loved her. I thought she was the only fiery character in the story. And there were also two gang lords, you can say, the Ragpicker King and Prosper Beck. And when they got introduced, I was like, oh my God, great. We are going to get double the action, double the scheming. Guess what? Nope. Yes, you are right. Nope. They turned out to be more of a diplomatic gang lords, more about talking. To be honest, I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the series at this point. I mean, we got a lot of world building in the first book, so maybe finally in the second book we are going to get more plot and more action? Question mark? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. 3 copies, 4 copies. I really do hope I love the second book. That's the only thing I hope for my mental health. Because I bought 4 copies. I really do hope I love the second book. Next up, I picked up a YA thriller. It was 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. And in this book, we follow a group of friends. We have 6 friends in an RV that are traveling for their spring break. And in the middle of nowhere, the RV breaks down. And as they are sitting there trying to find a solution, all 4 wheels of the RV got shot out by a sniper. And the story starts from there. This was fast-paced and suspenseful, as all Holly Jackson's books are. The entire plot takes place over the span of 8 hours. But for me, I didn't connect to the story and the characters as much as I did with the reappearance of Rachel Price. And I also figured out the secret that they were trying to discover. But with that being said, I think if you enjoy a story with unlikable characters that happen in a short span of time and that happens in a locked room setting, I think you will enjoy this one. For a YA mystery, this was just okay for me. It's not her best work. Don't expect the level of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder or her newest release, The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I think if you don't expect that, you will not be disappointed. But I read it after I read The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I felt the difference, the huge difference between them. So my advice would be to read it before that, because then you will go a step up from that book. Guardians of Dawn, book 1. In this book, we are following Zhara, and in this kingdom, we have magicians. They are living in hiding because it is condemned by the government, because magicians can be overtaken by demons and they can become abominations that will harm people and also like destroy the land and everything. I know that the story was pitched as a Cinderella and Sailor Moon, a mix between them. The thing that bothered me is the long names, a lot of characters with long names that got confusing at times, and it made it a bit hard for me to follow, especially for a YA. I mean, when I pick up a YA, I just want to have that fast-paced, good time adventure. This was a good adventure, but like the names made it a bit tricky for me to follow everyone and to remember everyone. And also I think it dragged a little bit. At some points it was a bit slow. It wasn't as fast as I wanted it to be. And I know that this is a Cinderella retelling, but I didn't like how she willingly let people take advantage of her, especially her stepmother. I mean, we can have it in the beginning of the book, but it continued to happen again and again, and it made me cheer when she finally stood up for herself. But unfortunately, that happened toward the end of the book, so it dragged a bit, it dragged a lot during the book, and that bothered me, to be honest. I would say this is an okay read. I'm not going to be buying the second book, to be honest. I'm not interested enough to continue on with the series. And the next book that I picked up was Flames of Chaos by Amelia Hutchins. This was an adult dark fantasy romance with witches, and how can I describe this? This was definitely an experience. Was it a pleasant one though? I'm not going to lie, maybe yes, because I laughed so hard during this book. No plot at all. How can I put this nicely? Just pretty immortals running around, and we know that they they let you know they really want to procreate. Yes, that I would say was the main focus of the book. If they are not doing it, they are talking about it. And the banter was just strong language. Lots and lots of swearing, cursing, and sexual wording, where it became so extreme because, I mean, we don't need it. I mean, a lot of the books we have sexual content and everything, but it serves a purpose in the banter, it serves a purpose in the plot, but this was just there for the shock value. Everything in the banter was so extreme to the point that it became funny, to be honest. I was laughing so hard at certain dialogues. I mean, most of the dialogues in this book. I mean, we are talking about 1,000 years old and 500 years old immortals that are talking like teenagers, and it was weird, and this just wasn't for me. I know that the author, when I went back and read the trigger warnings, the writer here mentions that she does not write lovable main characters and that you will hate them, but you will end up loving them. But it's not that. We have a lot of morally gray, unlikable characters, but like, you will find something to love about them, because if you are unlikable just to be unlikable, then how will this work? And also for me, like, the language, the writing style, it did not work. The dialogue, I felt like it was just, there was no plot. You need to experience it. If you are curious, read a little bit of this book and you will understand what I mean. This just wasn't for me. And I say it very sadly because I love these books. I love the art style. I love every customization that they did, and sadly I'm not going to keep them because these are just not for me. Maybe for someone else that loves this writing style will love them. So yeah, I will definitely be parting ways with these beauties.